Hello and welcome to the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. My name is Rim. I'm an artist, a certified life coach and an NLP practitioner, and the creator of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative retreats. Passionate about celebrating joy and beauty in the everyday, especially when things are falling apart. I'm insatiably curious about human nature, and I look into the world with reverence, awe, and a sense of wonder. Tune in for stories exploring healing through creativity, art, embracing sensitivity, and navigating the subconscious mind. I'll talk about the struggles that highly sensitive and creative people face, and share my experiences, insights, and favorite tools along the way. I'm here to empower you to turn what we often deem to be a curse into your biggest gift. I believe that the more we create together, the more we heal the world. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. I'm so happy and grateful for you tuning in. Today I want to talk about transitions, these times where you're in between, where you let go of the past but you're not in the future yet. Yes, the present, but the present not exactly as something we know what it is. And it's funny, I'm laughing now because it sounds very extreme and very dramatic. But there were times in my life when I thought that these transition times were like an ordeal, a purgatory. It was like, why wait? Why waste time? I want things to happen now. I want it now. I know what I want. I made my decision and I want to get on with it. And what I think this feeling, this perception is quite more present with highly sensitive people for many reasons. And one reason is that highly sensitive people have more difficulties to let go of the past, because that would letting go of what we know is, letting go of certainty, letting go of comfort, even though the past is not necessarily comfortable, not necessarily pleasant. That's why we want to change. But still, it's comfortable in the way that that's what we used to, that's what our neural pathways are used to, that's what our subconscious is used to, that's how we formed our habits. And therefore, letting go of that is quite unsettling, because it means that we need to jump into the unknown. And that's usually quite. We also tend to numb our feelings because our feelings are very intense. And when we are in this in-between phase, because we are not so busy, suddenly our feelings are like, we become very aware of our feelings. It's as if the light was shining on, like there was a spot on our feelings, and therefore it can be quite disturbing. And about the impatience part, I think it's more about the conditioning that says that we need to get fast, that we need to set goals, and then we need to take action and go. And so often people talk about their transformation and they say, oh, before I was depressed, or before I was sad, before I didn't know my past, and then suddenly the click, like I had a click and things changed for me and I turned my life around and now I'm this and that and I'm so happy and thriving and fulfilled. And this gives the impression that poof, with just a click of the fingers or magic, just a magic wand, and things changed, and that's it. It's like from one state to the next without any transition. And I think for most people, and most of the time, especially for the big change, the big transition, yes, there are some things, small things that can click in, and it can get very easy to change. But for long-held habits and beliefs, it takes usually longer, and especially for HS. For us, change is a bit more difficult and a bit more scary, and also we tend to be slower than the average because of all the things that we perceive, because we have so much awareness of our senses, of everything that we perceive, but sometimes it's unconscious awareness, so it could take more. And of course the overthinking and second guessing that we tend to. Another thing is that I've experienced, and probably you have too, is that since we do take time to make decisions, we like to ponder, we like to consider every angle out of a situation, out of a problem before we decide. And so what I mean is, like, the thinking takes quite a long time before the action is done. But then once we've made our decision, usually we know it's the right one because it's been a long time. And once we've taken a decision, we're ready because we've been spending so much time, sometimes weeks, months, sometimes years. We want to be already into the next stage because we have been preparing our mind for so long. So we think it's the moment. We think it's going to be a life-changing moment, that the day we take the decision, everything is going to happen. But it's not always the case. Like, you've probably told yourself, as soon as something, I will. And it's not like that. In my case, I remember thinking, when I decided to leave the fashion world, well, as soon as I leave the fashion world, everything is going to be different. Or as soon as I leave that toxic job, my life will get better. I remember when I was younger, I dragged myself. I stayed in a relationship for longer than what would have been good for me. And it took me a while. And once I took I was like, okay, as soon as I leave him, my life can begin, or everything is going to be fine, or I will have the energy to do that, and I will change, and everything will be fine. But no, it turned out to be a gradual process. Yes, of course, I felt like a big weight was lifted out of me once I took the decision and once I acted on it. But then what happened next is like, could be like this in-between world transition, blurry moment where you finished, like in that case, I left that job, or I left the fashion career, or I left that partnership, that partner, that boyfriend, but I'm not yet in a new relationship, or I don't have yet a new career, I don't have yet this new job. So what's going on there during that time? That's what I want to talk about today. And an analogy that came to my mind is when you move house. So when you decide that you're going to move home, you're going to move house, if you are, I think it's the same if you're an owner or a tenant. It doesn't change, I think, for that purpose. So, you have a deadline, you have set a date, a moving out date. And that's official. You've informed the landlord or the landlady, and you start to make list of what you want to keep. You start to go through your stuff, what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of, what you want to let go of. And if you're organized enough, you plan a little bit ahead. And so the first few weeks, you still have time. So you have time ahead. So you can take the time to do it clearly and neatly. And you order your boxes, you make some list, as I say. So you in the boxes, you made like piles of what you keep, and you can order them by categories. So you put the books together, the clothing together, cutlery together, all of that stuff. And then the rest, you try to sell it, you give it away to Goodwill, you throw it away, all of that. Okay, it's clear, it's neat, it seems quite a lot, but you kind of know where you're going. You have a system, and you think it's not going to be that long. Okay, I'm organized, I don't have so many things. But then what happens is, the more the time passes by, and you clear your stuff, and you realize you have more than what you thought, and it takes more clearing, more sorting, more choice to make. What do I keep? What do I let go of? So you keep going, and then you start to think, okay, I have to do a little bit faster because maybe you enroll the help of some of your friends or family members to help you and go faster. And maybe make a party out of it. Have some drinks while you declutter and everything. Okay. And then comes the one, like 3 days, 2 days, one day, the day of the move, and you kind of feel sweaty in panic because I still have so many things to do and I haven't finished it. And then you kind of get into action, fast action mode, and no time to think anymore. You have to be fast, 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 and take decisions super fast, and kind of also mix stuff. And now it doesn't really, we let go of the to-do list, we let go of the organization list, and it's like, okay, this I keep, this I throw, give away, and this keep. And of course you might confuse some of the stuff and throw away the nice thing and keep the ugly thing. It could happen, like keep the broken thing, because your mind is all over the place and your boxes are not neatly organized anymore, and you throw everything in the first box that you see and put everything together because it's time to move. It's time to go now. So it gets messy and mixed up, and you hurry. Okay, this I can say I talk from experience. I've done that so many times. And every time, even though I think it's gonna be organized and clear and neat, it always gets. So anyway, you've moved out, you cleaned the home, you gave the key to the owner or the agency, whatever, you pack everything, and you move in the new home. And now it's the transition phase period. First, what do? Well, you clean the home. I like to have a clean home, like my new home. I like it to clean it. I like to clean it myself, even if it's very nice. Well, I try to rent nice homes anyway, but even if it has been cleaned before, I like to have my own cleaning thing going on before I move in, so that I feel like it's mine. It's my stuff. It's like I feel like I'm marking the territory this way. So, okay, so you clean the house, you start to put stuff away at the beginning. Okay, you have your boxes everywhere. It's a bit messy all over the place, but you know it's new, and you know you can sort things out. And if you're also like me, you want it to be fast because you want to be enjoying your new home fast, soon, and you already have the ideas of how you're gonna organize your home. But of course, as you go along, it doesn't go as planned, and you realize that maybe this sofa doesn't really work over there, maybe it would be better there, and this bookshelf, you're gonna move it, and you know, it takes some time to see where things fit together and to make it look nice and cozy. And while you do that, you might need to still go to work, or you have other things to deal with, you know, like regular life stuff. So this slows down your moving in and your process. And but slowly you get there, you have less and less boxes, you've emptied them, you found some place to put them away in the cupboard, the drawer, wherever wherever you need to put them. Slowly it's taking shape, and your home is more comfortable to live in. And of course you still need to go and throw away those empty boxes that you emptied, so that's also some time and some work to do. Then you start to find, like at the beginning also, you don't know where things are. Maybe you don't have your little habits in your new home. You need to remember, maybe the heating system is different, or the lighting system is different. All of this stuff that you need to figure out, remember the key. Then you need to discover your neighborhood as well, to find where are the groceries, the different shops that you need, where is, like, if you travel, if you commute to go to work, also the route, you need to figure it out and to practice it until it's until it becomes. And once you feel finally at home, once you feel finally comfortable, then things start to fall into place, and it's not overnight. It's a transition, as I just like. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but yeah, it's like you. It's a process. It's not like one day, poof, you home and it's your new home, and you when you find everything is into place. No, it's slowly, day after day. You empty the boxes, you figure things out, and then maybe one day later you realize, oh, actually, it's been a while, it's been a few months, I feel at home now. I'm not, I'm taking this route kind of in automatic way. I don't, like, now I know where everything is, and now I'm ready to invite friends over, and I'm ready to do things that I didn't have time to do before because I was in that um, transition and getting used to that new space. And I think this is exactly what we go through when we change, when we take a big decision in our life, and we want to go from point A, or from our first house where we were before, our psychological house or energetical house, and we want to move to the next one. And sometimes this new house we move into is just a transitional house. It's not meant to stay. It's the in-between house. This happened to me actually, like literally. I'm not talking about a metaphor here. It was literal, but actually it was also a symbol of what was happening inside within me. Um, when I was living in Shanghai before COVID, I found that home that was amazing. I manifested it. At that time, I was quite into manifestation stuff, and well, I still am to some degrees, but I would say much more loosely now. Anyway, at that time, I had manifested that perfect home. There were so many signs that led me to think that this was gonna be my new home for my new life, and it's gonna be it. It was perfect, and it was gonna be the beginning of so many great things. Um, so it seemed like a great deal and all of that, and I painted it and I made it really my home, and it was so enjoyable. I redecorated it all, and because at that time I thought maybe I want to work into the decoration, interior design, interior decoration. I have quite like I love design and I love making homes look nice, so it seemed kind of logical, or like a nice step to go to. Except that, like, I was a bit tired of fashion, so I thought I will move from that and do interior. And I found that home that needed to be refurbished totally and redecorated. So I thought that's a perfect project, and that will help me to bounce back from that and get more projects on that. And there were so many signs, universe sending me signs that this was gonna be the case. And actually, no, it didn't happen like that. It turned out, yeah, I did end up staying in that home for 2 years, so it's a decent time, but not at all the way I planned, and not for as long as I thought, because COVID happened, and like a lot of my work projects were cancelled, and then I could not really pay my rent anymore because it was quite high, and I had to leave finally, like after a few months trying to make it. I realized, no, it's too stressful. I cannot. It did get me to this new phase, but this new phase is already transmuting into a new phase. This transition time is not exactly as I thought it was gonna be. Apparently I'm gonna be in a new transition, like a transition from the transition. And so I decided to let go of that home, and I found another place. I had very little time. I had to do this very fast. So all of this packing and organizing stuff, I had to do it fast and move into the new home. Also, I wanted to do it fast because the new home was much smaller. So, I wanted to make it comfortable faster so I could live properly there. And That summer was very rainy. Shanghai is in a subtropical climate, so in summer it's really hot and really wet, really rainy. And that place, the apartment, was on the ground floor, which means it gets wet faster. And when it rains, you can hear it, feel it, and sense it, and all of that, because you're literally on the ground. So yeah, very hot and wet and very weird. I felt like I was in an aquarium, really, to be honest. But without the water inside, maybe more like a hammam. And it turned out this home was not the right one. It was fine, and it was kind of a manifestation as well. But quickly there were some signs that it was not the right home for me. And my projects that, like, I found some stuff to do, but it was a very messy part of my life. It's also at that time that my friend, like a business partner, betrayed me. We had this fallout. So it was really a very emotional time. I actually liked the weather. Maybe it was like a hammam. But also in my head, I felt like so steamy from all the anger and also from all the crying, because yeah, it was very painful time. So what happened is, after, I think I moved in June, and by early September I moved out because I found something totally different. I manifested another job in another city, much better, closer to what I wanted, closer to the sea, so everything seemed much better. So I left. I decided to leave that place, leave Shanghai, and go on a new adventure. And I found a much better place over there, much better apartment. So I settled into this new home. It's funny because it also turned out to be just a transition. I stayed 1 year, and then I decided to move back to France. And it's interesting too, because that place also led me to a new part of myself, to this in between. Like, I'm building, I slowly things became clear into my mind. It was a process from that time where I said, okay, maybe I don't want to do fashion anymore, I will do interior design, to going back to trying different things. It's working a bit, but not like dramatic change. um, Starting to understand stuff about myself, discovering the subconscious, discovering hypnosis and all of that, doing inner child work. But it was slowly, because I think it was like, it takes time for the brain to understand and for the shift to happen. We often need repetition until it becomes clear. And it's like layers of onion, that you peel off. And it was the same, like every month, I feel like it was a bit like every house helped me to unpeel or to peel off a new layer, and to discover something that was bringing me closer to the truth, to my truth. And I could not do this overnight. Just like when you change home, you need a little bit of time to get used to it, to feel it. So once I had shed the layers from this Shanghai place, I moved to Shenzhen, and then I shed more layers, and then by then I was ready to move to go back to France. But even then, I wasn't sure. I didn't know. Am I gonna stay there for how long? I don't know. I don't plan to stay forever, but who knows? I haven't been there for many years, so I need to get used to the place again. I need to get used to France again. I'm staying in the countryside, so I need to get used to the countryside, because I've always lived in the city. It's totally a different life. I'm gonna spend more time with family, so I also need to get used to that. And me, what do I want to do? I know I want to go in that direction. Like, I know I want what I told myself back then. Like, I know I want to go more towards well-being, self-development, art, not design, but more art. I want to do something that is with a much slower pace, slower life. And I want to, like, investigate and learn to like get to know myself more, but more in depth, not the superficial level of myself. So really it was another big jump into the unknown, and this time even bigger. And when I took the decision, yes, I did think, okay, I'm gonna move to France, and there everything will be fine there. I will heal my inner child stuff, see family, we will get back together, and solve these family issues, and everything will be fine. I will change my career. I will start to do coaching because I did this training, NLP training and life coaching training, and I'm gonna make art, and I will do this and that and this and that. And already in my head, in my mental picture, I had a list full of stuff that I wanted to do, and all of this discovery of the region and all of that, and seeing all my friends that I haven't seen for a few years, and traveling in Europe and all of that. And yeah, no, it didn't happen like that, because the reality is all of these changes are quite heavy. I mean, it will be heavy for everyone, but for a highly sensitive person, our nervous system is more sensitive. So we need to do things slowly. We need to take care of it. We need a lot of time to process, time and space to process. For example, like for the fashion thing, regarding the fashion thing, when I decided I'm letting go of that, no, that's it, I'm not doing this, suddenly I received a lot of job offers in fashion. It's funny, it was like a test. Are you sure? Are you sure you're definitely done with fashion? Are you sure? Are you sure you're ready to let that go? And yes, I like the first few offers, I was like, no. But then something came up, and it was very interesting. Something that I would have loved to do just a few years ago. And I thought that's the irony, the irony of life. I would have really killed for it. Not killed, but you know what I mean. I would have loved to do this. I would have jumped on to that occasion just a few years ago. And now it's coming to me, and I was like, yeah, no. Then, of course, I said no, because I wanted to honor my decision and be ready, like open this new, close that chapter, close that former chapter for good. But it's not something that comes so easily, it takes time and pondering and strengthening your nervous system so that you feel safe when you're taking the decision, that you know that is the right thing. Because that also meant to me, so if I'm not this person who jumps at this idea of doing that work, who am I? Who am I gonna be? What do I do? What lights me up? What would make me feel super excited and fulfilled and all of that? Another thing, like also relationships. When I came back to France, I thought, okay, I've done a few months of resting. I'm starting to get used to life in France again. I'm ready to date again. And yeah, I did meet someone, and I thought he was the one. I laughed because no, of course he was not the right person. And I realized when I was in that relationship that actually this person is triggering lots of stuff that I don't want to have in my life anymore. He was reflecting back to me the things that I was ready to let go, but I had not completely let go of. And that's why I entered the relationship. I still needed to learn those stuff. Like I knew it, but I didn't totally know it. It's like how to say, like it's like I'm conscious of it, but not totally. Not. I need to experience it one last time to make sure I'm right, to make sure it's the right thing, to make sure to really imprint the knowing into my bones. It's something like that. Yeah, it's like imprinting this the knowing into the bones. I think it's also the difference between knowing and wisdom and experience. You know something, but you need to experience it. By experience it and suffering, sometimes what you learn, what you need to learn is painful. Then it gets ingrained in you. That becomes wisdom. That becomes a lesson learned for good. and then you can move on. So this relationship didn't last long at all, because I quickly realized, oh shit, this person will bring, if I stay with him, it will bring me back to a past version of myself who I don't want to be anymore. And that's nothing, it's nothing personal, it's just not the right fit for me now, for what I want to build in my life right now. I'm not there yet, I'm not this person yet, but by taking the right action or by taking the decision that is aligned with who I want to be, I'm slowly becoming this person. I entered that relationship thinking I was the new version of myself already, but it turned out I was not. I was in the process. But by taking the decision of saying no, no thanks, and moving on, I was becoming. I became this new version of me in that so you may say, okay, so did you find a person yet? Well, no, I haven't, because it's not my place to decide when. I don't know. I've learned to totally surrender. I'm becoming, like every day, I'm becoming more and more of that person that I want to be, but I cannot decide when it's gonna happen. I'm not the mistress of time. Life has its own process. So what I can do is just keeping the faith, keeping trust, and keep going, keep becoming myself. What I think is really important to accept and understand is that during this transition time, we need to learn to let go, surrender, and to learn to be adaptable, so that we can flow with life, not be rigid. It's all about learning adaptability and flexibility so that we can dance with the flow of life. Because truly, we don't know when we are ready. And it's not like one day we wake up and we're different. No, it's a gradual process. Again, I repeat it because it's really, there is divine timing and we have no clue when it's gonna happen. I think our job is to focus on the moment, the present moment, and learn to enjoy it, to learn to be patient. That was hard for me because I used to be so impatient. But learning to be uncomfortable, like learning how to be comfortable with the discomfort, rather. Yeah. It's like planting seed. When you set your intentions, when you know you want to change your life or change something, you set your intention. So it's like you plant the seeds of your intention for a new plant. And then you need to nourish the soil. And then there is winter. Winter needs to let the earth do its magic. It needs time for rest so that the seed is nurtured. So it's the same for us. We need this time to nurture ourselves, to rest, to learn about ourselves, process stuff, to study and prepare for our transition. In the soil, in the earth, it's able to draw, the seed is able to draw on water and the proper nutrients. When it's ready, it will break open and sprout. Exactly like us. There is this process of breaking open. The seed, like the life of the seed, will be over as a seed so that it can grow and look into a plant that doesn't look at all like a seed. The same for us. There is some parts of us that we need to break. And we need to break open. So it's like confronting and facing our dark sides or our difficult things, processing them and grieving them. I think there is a big grieving process in this transition time. For me, I had to grieve my childhood dream of becoming a fashion designer, of working in that field. I had to grieve, like in many other areas, like for family grieving, what could have been with my siblings, for example, and that could never be. Grieving all these castles in the sky, castle in the air that we build in our head. Grieving also our mistakes, forgiving ourselves, grieving the past versions of ourselves. And by doing so, also acknowledging all the good and all the great thing that this past version of ourselves brought to us. If I'm here now, it's thanks to this past me who did experience all of these things, did some mistakes, but also did some great things. And all of these learnings, all of this life experience, all of those stuff that she is bringing to this new life, she's like saying, I can say to her, thank you for everything. Thanks to you, I'm here now. I no longer need some of these beliefs or some of these habits that you took, but they were serving me at some point, so thank you for that. But now I no longer need them, so I'm letting them go, and I'm ready to shed my skin and transform. And I'm ready to start new habits, to adopt new beliefs. And these habits and beliefs, I need time to practice to make, so that I can make them mine, so that they can become familiar. And when it's ready to bloom, the flower will bloom in due time. After winter, there is always spring. Even though sometimes it feels like winter is never ending, it does eventually end. The sun comes in and warms the seeds. And the flower may turn out totally different from what you expected. That's the beauty and the miracle of life. We don't know exactly what we will get. You have the intention that will guide you. But life is always more clever and more creative than we are. Just like when the seed is under the soil, we cannot see it. We just need to trust that the soil, that life, that the earth is doing its magic, and time. Same for us. We need to accept that we have no visibility. We cannot really know exactly what's going to happen, but we can trust that what needs to happen is for our highest good. Even if it's unpleasant at times, it's so that we can learn and so that we can make new choices. We can either reinforcing the past, or we can make new choices that will prepare. So taking things day by day, I think it's even to allow things to unfold and trust. It's like the creative process, developing curiosity and a sense of wonder, experimenting. I think it's really helpful to develop this experimentation mindset when you are in, see what works for you. It's a golden opportunity to find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what gives you energy, what doesn't. The beginning of change is the hardest part. Just like when you start to walk, you stumble a lot. When you were a baby, you were stumbling, and then you get up, you get back up, and every day your muscles get stronger until you can walk. It's the same. So learning to fail is super important. I know it's hard. It's hard to let go, it's hard to surrender, it's hard to learn to fail, but taking it day by day, little by little, reminding ourselves that it's part of the process. It's like being gentle to ourselves. And if you find it hard to be gentle, try to see yourself as a little child. What would you say to a stumbling little child trying to get up to? I bet you wouldn't be hard and mean, you would be encouraging. So try to do the same for yourself. Focus on the little things that make you feel good, that helps to go through that time. And I found connecting to art every day is so helpful. For me, it has been drawing and experimenting without any expectation. I wanted to draw for many years because I used to love drawing when I was a kid, and I shared in the first few episodes of the podcast, when I talk about my story, I kind of got disgusted by drawing when I went to art school. The irony of things. And I could not hold a pencil for many years. But for the past 10 years I've wanted to, but I thought, I need to do it related to work, so I'm gonna do fashion illustrations, but I didn't enjoy it anymore. Then I tried to print design, because I thought, well, if I like to draw and I like textiles, I might like the logical thing is to become a print designer, but I also didn't enjoy it. Drawing on the computer, I like it a little bit, but I don't love it. This time, when I was over the past 2 years, I've been drawing more and more. At the beginning, I just draw 5-10 minutes in the day, and it was just doodling. And then I added some affirmations to motivate me and encourage me. And then slowly, I began to take more pleasure in it. And my 5-10 minute session became 1, 2, 3 hour session until I started to draw every day and expand my drawing range and discovering my drawing voice, my new drawing voice, not the one that I had when I was a child. Of course, there are links and they were looking at what I was doing as a child, but I'm not this person anymore. I'm not entirely this child anymore. She's still within me, but I'm different now. So I'm also like my drawing is reflecting that, and until I reached this point when I realized that's what I love doing in art. I want to incorporate it into my art practice. Yes, I don't really know where this will lead me, but I felt compelled to draw and draw and draw day after day. So for me, this is the biggest clue, the biggest sign that I need to follow that. That's where my energy wants. That's one example. There was also this retreat project that became clear in my mind. If I hadn't given myself this time, this transition time, if I had been just pushing into the direction I thought I should go, maybe I would have been postponing this dream. And why? This transition time can be quite messy, because there are times when we go back to the old ways and realize, oh, it's really frustrating, it's dissatisfying, but yet we still have the opportunity to adopt new ways to change. And it's like a lot of back and forth, just like this analogy of the child, the baby falling back and getting up. And it was through this discomfort, messy action, kind of chaos stuff, chaotic environment where everything falls apart, things start to make sense, and shining the light on the dark sides, on the dark things, and at the same time dedicating myself to follow my intentions and to keep getting back to the present moment, to keep creating every day, to keep experimenting and being willing to see the world with awe, with amazement, connecting to nature every day, connecting to my sense. That's how I was able to see the new version of myself emerge little bit. It's a bit like when when they used to look for gold, they need to sift through lots of mud, lots of dirt before finding the treasure. And it takes time, perseverance and dedication and trust, resilience. I think it's the same for us. To find our light, our treasure, we need to keep digging and keep sifting through the mud and let go of what no longer serves us. Let go, grieve, forgive, acknowledge, be thankful, and all of that. And a lot of these things that we learn and uncover and discover during that time, during that process, will turn out to be super useful for the next phase of our life, the next chapter. This is what makes us stronger. And at the same time, more open. And I want to end with this quote, this horoscope by Rob Bresney. I really love his horoscope, and I looked at it this morning, and this is the horoscope for Pisces, and I think it's perfect for. He says, "The gift of patience opens when our body, heart, and mind slow enough to move in union." So says Piscean poet Mark Knepper. Through a blend of grace and your relaxed efforts to be true to your body, heart, and mind will synchronize and synergize. Patience will be just one of the gifts you will receive. Others include a clear vision of your a lucid understanding of what will be most meaningful to you in the next 3 years, and a profound sense of feeling at home in the world, wherever you I love all of it, and especially the last sentence, this idea of feeling at home in the world wherever you go, because I think this is what matters the most. It doesn't matter what is the next chapter, when is what's important is to have this profound sense that it is safe to be you wherever you go, whatever happens, you can handle it. And you will handle it brilliantly, exactly as you need to. There is no need to wait and waste our time and be frustrated and just settle for less than a life, just waiting for the as soon as something happens. Because life is now, and this transition time is a gift. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if it has inspired you, please share it around you. Also, if you feel called to it, please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It really helps to spread the word out. All your questions are welcome. You can send them to me on Instagram at rim.creativenergy.com or email me via my website rimcreativenergy.com, and don't worry, I'll share in the show notes exactly where to find me. Until next time, sending you loving creative energy.